Medals better than rings? I guess to the ringless they are. And Dario Saric, the next Dirk Nowitzki or the next Marc Gasol? Hopefully he's one of the two. And the Sixers possibly have 2 Rookie of the Year candidates? All that and more from Overbrook High School in West Philadelphia. This is the NBA Finals. Let's ball. It's that time again, everybody. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones, Roy Burton, and this is the NBA Finals. We're going to start off the basketball court, opening tip-off today.
All right.
NBA players and athletes in general, but NBA players specifically, speaking out on social issues. Carmelo Anthony does an interview with ESPN talking about how he feels obligated to speak out on social interviews. We had the opening of the ESPN, or excuse me, the ESPYs. Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James talking about Black Lives Matter and everything. But issues aside, what are your opinion or feelings on NBA players talking out on social issues?
I'm in favor of it. I mean, I don't think anybody should feel obligated to do it. But if they decide that the spirit moves them to speak about social issues, then by all means, I mean, please feel free, because as NBA players and as athletes, they do have a I don't want to say special, but I guess I'll use the word special standing.
Yeah.
In that people will listen to the things that they say. So if LeBron James highlights social issues, like when he was with the Heat, when he took the stand with for Trayvon Martin, if LeBron James says something like that, that carries more weight with a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily pay attention to that issue.
The time of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, sitting at the podium supporting Muhammad Ali for not being drafted, those were necessary. We needed those. It's not just the black community, but as Americans, we needed it to unite. I almost feel like when you ask athletes to speak out on social issues, you're opening a door. Because you can't control what comes in.
Absolutely.
So what happens if the athlete comes out and doesn't take the popular stand, doesn't say what you want them to say, or doesn't support the issue, says, instead of saying, I'm going to support the Democratic candidate, I'm going to say Republicans buy sneakers too. What happens then?
But it's the same thing we have just in a base issue with the general freedom of speech that we have as Americans. I mean, that's one of the greatest freedoms we have here in America. But freedom of speech means you're also free to say whatever you want, even though it's not necessarily the most popular thing. And that's fine. I mean, I'd rather have the ability to say what I want to say, even though there will be people out there saying things that I don't necessarily agree with. If you open the door, you gotta accept traffic. You have to accept traffic both ways. I mean, that's just the way it is.
All right, people say that all the time. Freedom of speech. What is it? The Constitution that allows you, it's the Constitution, I forget the amendment. It means so the government can't beat down your door when you say something against them. It doesn't mean that I can go out in an airplane and yell fire or gun and say I have a right to say whatever I want. No.
Right.
You don't have a freedom of speech. You're held accountable for what you say. It's just so if you say George Bush is a dodo bird, the Republican Party doesn't come and try to tar and feather you in the middle of the neighborhood. So I don't agree with the freedom of speech. I do believe that people have a right to think what they want, but
You don't want people to say what they want?
It's not so much I don't want, you're treading lightly though. Because Jordan gets killed for years for saying Republicans buy sneakers.
That's right.
That's what he thought.
That's what he thought.
He felt
was
the
right.
issue was more important to make money.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he's donating money to this, coinciding with the same day of his Jordans being released and a little scuttlebutt of a boycott of Jordans. I know you, Mike. I know money matters to Money Mike. I don't know if I want them speaking out. I don't know if I want, because I know it's the old do the right thing line. Where Spike Lee's talking to Vito, and they're at the jukebox, and he's saying Magic Johnson's not black, Michael Jordan's not black. It's different. I don't think those who need to hear those words correlate that LeBron James is black like you and I. In the 50s and 60s, what forced everyone to believe in civil rights is what Sammy Davis Jr. was treated like Sammy Jackson. Like regardless of their money or social status, you were still that and you still had to sit in the back of the bus.
Right.
It's levels to this thing now. LeBron James isn't getting pulled over 72 times. He's not, his nephews and sons aren't being shot. So I don't know if them speaking out on those issues are going to move people the way they should. I think the approach needs to be different. And when you open that door, you can't control who walks out.
You can't control it.
NBA Files. Welcome back to the NBA Files. Kwame Fisher-Jones, Roy Burton, Kwame Fisher-Jones from Overbrook High School in West Philadelphia, historic Overbrook High School. We're speaking social issues. And I kind of touched on why I don't think we should encourage athletes to speak out. I'll give you an example.
All right.
So Carmelo Anthony feels obligated, or, and I salute him for speaking out. I'm not against anything he says. But let's say, as much as Carmelo feels like, I'm going to say this side of police brutality or over-anxious police, and not saying all police officers are bad, not saying most police officers are bad, not saying some police officers are bad, there's an isolated few. But let's say one of his teammates comes out and is vocally supportive of police officers, vocally supportive of whatever political views a teammate may have. Now you've got a schism in the locker room.
Right.
Now you've got guys that and it's not basketball related. What happens then?
Well, that's the thing. You don't even need to have someone else come out and say that in order there to be a schism in the locker room. If Carmelo Anthony comes out and says, and he did, what he said about police brutality and so on and so forth, there's probably already somebody in the locker room who already doesn't agree with that stance. And there may already be a schism in the locker room saying, we're teammates, but I don't agree with Carmelo Anthony on these certain things. Like, for example, when Spencer Hawes was here on the Sixers, he was a hardcore Republican and made it perfectly known that he, was a Republican and defended, the Republican ideals. I'm sure there were a lot of people in that Sixers locker room who didn't have a problem with it. Who had a problem with it. So you're going to have that whenever anybody says anything. You're just going to have a natural reaction to it on a team because all 15 guys won't agree politically and socially.
So what happens, though, when it affects the play? Because it's easy to point out Spencer Hawes, who's a marginal NBA player, not really emotionally invested in a lot of things, kind of goes out and plays. He's not an emotional player is what I'm saying. But what happens when you get an emotional player, like a Dennis Rodman, who plays off emotion, and he completely 100% disagrees with David Robinson's way of life? And essentially, it affected the Spurs on the court. Now, a lot of people forget that, but you fast forward now, you got social media and guys who can say things and not be called to task on them immediately. What happens then?
You just have to. It's something you have to deal with. I mean, it's just a reality. Like you have to have.
It's avoidable.
But it's not. But you can't say like LeBron. You can't say anything about social. Like you can't say that. Like you can't control what people say. You can't control if LeBron wants to make a political statement. You can't tell him no. You can't.
The NBA can. They've controlled the way players dress. They control what goes in their bodies. They can institute. I don't want to say a gag order. But encourage players through the next collective bargaining agreement to stay away from political. It's like the bar rules. You don't talk about politics and you don't talk about religion. You can institute that.
But you can't. I mean, I can't imagine a players' association led by LeBron and Chris Paul and those guys agreeing to any sort of stipulations that would bar them from saying or doing things that would further certain causes that they believe in. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, that's just too restrictive. I mean, I don't see it happening.
I think you have to.
I don't think you should.
I don't think you should, but I think you have to because everyone's opinion matters. And
so let everybody just have their opinion.
Then you open it hell's door.
Then you're worried about what happens on the court. I mean,
it's not so much court, just practice. Let's say somebody.
If Carmelo Anthony needs to say something in order to, better the situation in West Baltimore or wherever he wants to talk about, then that's more important than winning games on a basketball court.
It is. You're right. However, it's going to translate or manifest itself into the team because everyone is not going to agree. And everyone is not going to disagree in a polite, respectful manner. And when that happens, you don't want to go back. Like you don't want to wait for the result to look at the cause.
But I'll have 17 fights between Carmelo Anthony and Courtney Lee if it means that Carmelo Anthony saying something about a social issue gets people in the community to affect change. I'll deal with whatever happens on the court. It doesn't matter. Those guys want to scrap it out. That's whatever.
Well, and I don't think it's something that you want to jump into. Now, as we talk about Carmelo Anthony off the court, saying things, the better the community, the better. He just retarded any basketball love that I have for him with his statement about medals ease the pain of lack of NBA titles.
You hate medals. You hate the Olympics. I don't know what it is.
I do.
I don't know what it
because
is.
it's pacifying inadequate players. It's pacifying guys who aren't good enough to win in the NBA, saying, well, it's okay. I've got 19 gold medals.
Oh, man.
You're a loser. and gold medals isn't correcting
Did
that.
you not get credentialed for Rio or something? Is that where's this coming from?
I don't want to get credentialed for the Olympics.
Where's this coming from?
I don't care. I don't care. Talk to me when the season starts. NBA Files.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Roy Burton, Kwame Fisher-Jones here at Overbrook High School in Philadelphia. And we're talking about Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony recently made a statement saying that gold medals help ease the pain of not winning an NBA championship. This is a man who has won at the high school level, he has won at the college level.
And hasn't won at the NBA
not won at the NBA level. But he says, you know what, it's okay because I'm on the path to 3 gold medals here in Rio de Janeiro. Mr. Fisher-Jones, your thoughts on Mr. Carmelo Anthony's statement about gold medals?
Personally, I am offended and I detest it. I'm a Carmelo Anthony fan.
You're a stan. You're a Melo stan.
Well, man, am I? He's like one of my top 5 NBA players. I defend Melo on so many levels. Never played in the NBA Finals.
Never played, nope.
1 Western Conference Finals appearance, and I believe 2 first round. 2 played out of the first round twice. It's the equivalent of the single woman saying it's no big deal to get married. It's the equivalent of the short guys saying, tall guys don't, the height doesn't mean anything. It's so many things. It's the guy that can't cook saying, I don't need to learn how to cook. Basically, you're ringless. So you have no barometer to measure what's more important. Seriously, you're ringless. Like you not only are you ringless, you don't even know what it's like to taste the spoils of victory or the agony.
I think you're skewing it a little bit. Didn't he say it eases the pain of not winning? He didn't say this is better than winning a title. He didn't say. He never said that. He said I didn't win a title, but I have 3 gold medals to fall back on, so I feel kind of good about my career.
If you've never felt the pain, how can you quantify the hurt? If you've never felt that pain, how can you quantify the hurt? How can you say, qualify the hurt? How can you say, oh, well, it doesn't hurt as much? How the hell do you know? How do you know?
You got to step it back. He didn't say this is better. He's saying, like, look.
He says it eases it.
He's like, me not winning a title is terrible. However, it is less terrible because I have 3 rings.
How do you know?
3 medals.
How do you know?
No,
Even if Kevin Durant, I would take it better from Kevin Durant because he at least, even though it was a lockout shortened season, which I think is going to eventually hurt his legacy. The fact that he couldn't even get it done when the season was shortened. I think that's going to hurt his legacy. Carmelo has never gotten it done, and it gives me a little window dressing into the mind of Melo. When you talk about a guy like Carmelo, who's never won a ring, and then you back the truck up a little bit, who's never competed for a ring. Then you back it up even further, who's never even come close to competing for a ring. That's not a conversation you talk about. Like, you don't jump into that conversation. I don't know. I know it hurts every year I lose, something along those lines. And then, like I said, you have a soiree before the Olympics. It's like the celebration of the ringless. Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony giving prizes and booby prizes, rings and cigars. And I love Carmelo. I really do. Carmelo is up there as one of my favorite players. He's must-see TV. I'm going to get credentialed for the Knicks this year to go watch a couple games. So I love Carmelo. Maybe that's why I'm so hard. But no, you don't make that comment. You don't make that, especially when you've got 3 gold medals and you can't even get to an NBA Finals. That should let you know it's easy. That should let you know it's not as difficult.
Oh boy.
Look, we'll take a break. Holly on it. Let it marinate, and it will come back. Roy Burton, Kwame Fisher-Jones, Overbrook High School, NBA Files. Welcome back to the NBA Files Live, broadcasting from Overbrook High School here in Philadelphia. Roy Burton, associate editor of the Liberty Ballers, astute basketball mind, co-host of the BS Line, 100% wrong here.
100% wrong.
100% wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, here we go.
You pay a plumber to come to your house.
I do, because I can't do that myself.
Okay, exactly. You
right.
pay a plumber to come to your house.
That's right.
You want him to unclog your drain in your bathroom. All right? He goes in your kitchen.
Here we go.
He goes in your kitchen and gets your cold water to run better. You paid him to unclog your drain. He goes in your kitchen and gets your cold water to come back and say, well, you know, this will ease the burden of your drain backlogging in the bathroom. Are you happy with that?
I'm not happy with that.
Because you why?
Because I paid him to unclog my drain.
You paid the man to do a job.
That's right.
Carmelo is paid to win NBA titles. You are not paid to win gold medals. You're not. So how is it ease the burden or ease the loss? You're not doing your job.
I appreciate the analogy, and that's probably the best one you've had so far on the show. It's easy, if you are in pain, okay, and if someone says, like, look, I can't soothe the pain, but if there's anything else I can do for you, I'm more than willing to do it. And they do something for you, maybe they help you around the house or whatever, pick up your kids or whatever. It makes it a little bit easier to deal with everything else that you got going on. That's all he's saying. That's all he's saying.
If I'm hungry, I don't want a t-shirt.
That's all.
If I'm hungry, I don't want a t-shirt. It's like you're paid to do this. That's the problem. See, I'm going to take it to a bigger scale. I'm going to take it to a bigger scale. That's the problem with America today. We used to be point A to point B. We don't give a damn about your feelings. We have a goal.
Right.
Our fathers had much more testosterone. Like it's a commercial. Your father's father had more testosterone than your father, and your father has more testosterone than you. So essentially, we've gotten soft. 3 gold medals is I'm soft. Three gold medals is I can't get it done.
The greatest prize in the world, the true world championship, is soft.
What makes it the true world championship?
You're the best in the world.
Olympians trying to go?
You are the best in the world. The best players from around the world.
Not true.
Around the
Not
world.
true.
Oh, okay. When LeBron decides to show up.
Okay,
the best
thank
players,
you.
The best players from around the world, except for LeBron and Steph, show up at this event every 4 years, not every 1 year, because Melo pointed that out. It's like, championships are cool. This is only every 4 years, which makes it a little bit special.
The more you hear about the comment, the more you see the players that show up, the more you see the guys that it matters to. It's, you know, it's Charles Barkley. It's the guys who can't get it done on the big stage. So you go play in the 5th quarter, and you talk about how great it is to play in the 5th quarter, and it eases the burden of not playing when it matters. The NBA Finals is what you're judged on.
That's what you dream of doing your entire life. I understand that. I get that.
That's what you don't go in the backyard and say, gold medal, baby. Do you?
No one does.
Do they have statues of Oscar from Brazil? No. Who's selling sneakers in Brazil? Even though they don't have houses. Who's selling sneakers in Brazil to the guy that's living on the street on the cot? Michael Jordan. And it ain't because he won a gold medal with the Dream Team.
Right.
He agrees, he just doesn't want to admit it. Gold medals are not the bar or the standard in which things should be measured. And the fact that my top 5 most favorite players, is Russell Westbrook playing?
No, he's not. He played before.
But Kevin Durant is, huh?
Kevin Durant is.
Where's Russell Westbrook right now?
He's at home.
No, he's not. He's in an undisclosed location in a gym like this, Clubber Langen right now.
Russell Westbrook, this is his first off season where he's been married. So he was enjoying married life right now. Not dealing with Zika in Brazil.
I mean, it's just look, you know, it's the off season, and you search for things that you want to discuss that are relevant to NBA fans. When the Knicks don't win the title this year,
right?
When they can't win the division because the Toronto Raptors are better than them, despite Carmelo being arguably the best player on the court, despite Derrick Rose being one of the more explosive players in the NBA. Well, I think he'll have his level of explosion back. Okay. And they still can't win the Atlantic Division. This comment will tell you why. There should be for lack of a better phrase, balls to the wall mentality that these players need to exhibit. And they don't. And that bothers me. It bothers me as an NBA fan. Yeah, but no one's going to think about this when the Knicks don't win, because Carmelo has a LeBron problem, all right? Like that, and he has a Steph Curry problem, and now maybe a Kevin Durant problem.
He just can't win because of those guys. Like, those guys are in the way, and he can't overcome those guys. And it doesn't matter how many Olympic games or world championships or goodwill games the dude goes to. He's just not good enough to beat those guys.
If you remember a few moments back, I said, people want to look at things when they want to look at the result, and they don't want to look at the cause, and they want to try to address the result. People may not look at this comment, but the result is what people will look at of them not winning. The cause is the mindset that leads you to the comment, and that's the bigger issue. And we're going to transition from one mindset problem, to another mindset problem, because you think Dario Saric is the
homie.
Next Dirk Nowitzki. We've got a whole nother list of problems, NBA Files.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Roy Burton, Kwame Fisher-Jones, and we're going to keep up with the Olympic discussion. We're going to bring it a little bit more local. We're going to come down 95 and talk about the homie Dario Saric showing out in Rio in the first few games.
5 whole points. Get your case ready.
Show it out. I know you're not the biggest fan of Dario, and in general, the biggest fan of Europeans. Aren't you a little bit pleased by what you've seen so far out of Dario Saric? Aren't you a little bit curious to see how this will translate into the NBA?
That's a great question. That's, we talked a little bit about the production. I mean, I didn't know that was the angle you were going to cover. That's a great question. I'm not, but not because I'm down on Dario per se.
Okay.
In full disclosure, I've watched about 30 of Dario's games. Last summer, I watched the EuroLeague play. I've followed Dario since they drafted him because I didn't want to be down on him without being informed. The things that Dario does well, he's tough. He has an amazing basketball IQ, which covers his lack of ability as far as athletic ability.
Right.
He's got immaculate basketball instincts.
Very good passer.
For a big man.
For a big man.
You got to preface that because you'll hear a lot of candy lollipop basketball because, he's a great passer for a big man. Chris Webber was a great passer, period. Shaq was a great passer for a center. There's a difference. But no, I'm not excited because he's doing what I thought he would do. And what's going to change, what I need him to do in the NBA to help the Sixers, he's not capable of doing.
But he's doing what he's doing it against NBA talent. He's doing it against Pau Gasol, Nikola Mirotic, Luis Scola. These are NBA guys.
Okay.
And then he had, the other day, he almost had a triple-double. He had,
all right. Okay.
A triple-double doesn't mean anything. I mean, I know it's the Olympics. I know you hate international competitions.
No, I love Tony Parker. I was a huge Marciulionis fan. Detlef Shrimp. Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone knows I love Dirk, the Diggler.
You love Dirk.
I'm a huge Dirk fan. I actually have him on my power forward list higher than you have him.
You do?
He's ahead of Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale. I have him over Kevin Garnett. He's right up there with Tim Duncan, Bob Pettit, and the other great power forwards in the league, Moses Malone. So I put Dirk up there. But to go back to Dario, it's not the EuroLeague. Here's what I have an issue with.
Okay.
14%. Shoots 14%.
14% what? From
against Spain. Against Spain. Shoots 14%.
Okay, but what else did he do in that game?
Had 5 blocks. Including 5 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, and 1 key block. All right? 33% from 3.
Okay.
We keep hearing he's a stretch 4, which tells me you haven't seen him play. Because if you're saying he's a stretch 4, you've never seen him play. You've never seen the man play. Against Argentina, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists.
7 assists, almost a triple-double against Argentina, one of the best teams
43% from the field.
In the world, okay.
43%. In the EuroLeague where efficiency matters. Okay, against Brazil, 15 points, 45%, 5 from 11 from the field. I'm seeing a guy.
Couple threes. You missed the threes on that game.
Oh, yeah, 2.
2 for 3.
No,
wasn't 2 for 3.
2 for 6.
Okay, all right. My
the Dario propaganda continues.
My apologies.
The Dario propaganda continues. No, seriously,
let's look at Klay Thompson's stats since you're gonna.
He's right. He's 3 for 5. But that's not the point.
let's bring out Klay Thompson's numbers since we're just gonna read off numbers. He's been horrible. He's been horrible in the Olympics.
It's different. Klay Thompson's a champion.
No, but Klay Thompson's been hard. So if a 3-game sample means that Dario Saric can't play in the NBA.
I didn't say he can't play. I said he's not going to have an impact.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Define impact. What's your definition of impact? Like, what level of player do you expect Dario Saric to be?
Charles Shackelford.
Well, he's already better than Charles Shackelford. It's already a win.
His ceiling is Vlade Divac. Realistically, I see Charles Shackelford.
He's better than Charles Shackelford.
I don't think he's better than Charles Shackelford because I'm looking at a guy who's going to struggle defensively. He's going to struggle defensively.
He'll be okay defensively.
What position
He's a 4. He's got to be a 4.
Okay, so what 4 can he defend?
He's defending 4s now in the Olympics.
He's defending Baca.
He's defending Paul Gasol, Luis Scola.
Paul Gasol is 90 years old.
Oh, those guys.
Luis Scola is 95.
Oh, gosh.
Realistically. Go ahead, ask me, because you know what I'm going to say. You asked me in the production meeting. What do I want from Paul Gasol? I want Zach LaVine. I want Paul Gasol 15 years ago.
Zach LaVine level production out of Dario Saric. You'll get that.
No, I don't think he will.
You'll get that.
But you look at the Olympics and what you see. What has impressed you about him in the Olympics?
He's solidified. He's backed up everything that I thought of him before. It's the same player that I've seen.
Give me some specifics. What has he done?
Again, like you said, he's tough.
Okay.
He hustles. He has a high basketball IQ. He's a better on-ball defender than I gave him credit for. I didn't think he was that good as far as the physicality on the ball. He's a solid defender. You can't expect this dude to come in and beat Paul Gasol. He's not going to be Paul Gasol. And if that's your bar, then you're going to be disappointed. But he's not Charles Shackelford. He's not one of the more terrible European dude who never comes over.
Armin Gilliam.
Armin Gilliam was solid. But
okay,
whatever.
If he's Armin Gilliam, you're happy.
I'm not happy, no. But he's not. He's better than Tiago Splitter. I'll put it like that.
Oddly enough, I don't think he is.
Okay.
I think Tiago Splitter was better at what he did than what Dario will be. Here's the issue on so many levels, Dario, but this is where I start. Mm-hmm. People are expecting a guy to come in and contribute. First of all, there's a logjam in his position.
Agreed.
So that competitive fire is going to take place in practice. Mm-hmm. The problem is the guys he's going against are just as competitive, if not more, and they have no back down in them. Jahlil Okafor may not be an outwardly aggressive guy, but there is a quiet assassin in there. Mm-hmm. He's not going to back down.
Right.
Provided Embiid is healthy, I didn't say if, provided he's healthy, he's going to compete. Mm-hmm. All right? You just drafted the high yellow assassin in Ben Simmons. Where's he going to play? Because if you put him on the floor to defend threes, he's going to get killed.
Right.
You put him on the floor to defend 4s, mm-hmm. Now you've got a lineup of Embiid, Okafor, Simmons, and Saric.
Well, you're not playing them all at the same time.
So where's he going to play?
He's going to be your backup 4. He's going to be your backup power forward.
So what's that, 15 minutes a game?
15, 20 minutes a game, depending on, you can probably move it around, because you can move Simmons around. You play small ball lineups with Simmons. You can probably get him on the court. If I had to guess, 18 minutes a game.
Okay, 18 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. That's my issue.
That's your issue?
That's my issue. You waited 3 years for 18 minutes a game and toughness and instincts. That ain't winning you games.
How long did the Bulls wait for Tony Kukoc?
I don't give a rap.
How long did the Bulls wait for Tony Kukoc? How many minutes did he play? Because he wasn't a starter during his career. He hit 13 years in the league. He was a full-time starter for 3.
Tony Kukoc was the 4th best player on a Michael Jordan-led team.
So there's no minutes for Tony Kukoc. No minutes for Tony Kukoc.
Tony Kukoc, when he came to the Sixers, they traded him for Dikembe Mutombo and Rashawn McLeod. Mm-hmm. So how good of a player was he then?
He was a good player. He was a solid player.
He was a solid player. So if you're telling me that Dario is going to be Tony Kukoc, I still have a problem. Because the impact is not there. Tony Kukoc had no impact when Jordan and Rodman and Pippen were there. He was allowed to run around and play freebie, NBA Live, just grab buttons ball. Mm-hmm. He wasn't held accountable. Dario is coming into an environment where he's going to be held accountable. He's going to ask to contribute, and it's not going to happen because there's no talent there to manifest itself to the court.
He's going to be held accountable. At best, if this all comes to fruition the way it's supposed to, at best, Dario Saric is probably the 3rd, if not the 4th best player on this team.
Therein lies an issue. You didn't draft him at 10 to be the 4th best player on your team.
You drafted a bunch of guys in the top 3. That's who's going to carry the water.
And you traded them based off the fact that I've got this Dario guy. He's going to be great. When he comes over, he's going to change the league.
You got Ben. He was a top pick. You have Joel Embiid. You have Jahlil Okafor. You have your own first-round pick next year. You have a good chance of having the
adding Saric.
No, all of those guys are going to be the ones carrying the water, not Dario Saric, not the guy you drafted.
So what the hell do we care about
Not the guy because he's an important part of the team.
How? If he's the fifth, you just gave me 4 names and roster center. Meaning you gave me 4 names and a blank screen or a silhouette of a guy who's not even here yet. Because you said the next guy is going to be there too. If you're telling me that he's going to be the 5th best player, if you're lucky, if he's
no. If everything comes out the way it's supposed to come out, the guy you drafted number 12 in 2014 probably isn't going to be as good as the other guys you've drafted the last few years.
And so if that's the point, then we shouldn't even be talking about him. He never should have been picked. You had a top 5, 12 if you want to look at it because they traded. But realistically, they had the 10th pick and they grabbed Dario. You had a top 10 pick in a deep draft. And you came back with a guy that 3 years later ain't giving you squat. NBA Finals. We're talking NBA. We're talking Dario Saric here on the NBA Files. We're Burton and Kwame Fisher-Jones, broadcasting from Overbrook High School here in West Philadelphia. Born and raised. Actually, I was not, but you can't say West Philadelphia without saying.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it.
Dario Saric. All right.
So the homie.
See, it's so many. All right. When the Sixers drafted Dario, he had lit the under 18, 19 World Championships on fire. I got the numbers here. It was a 2011, 25 and 10, 18 and 10, 24 and 11. He was a monster then.
Monster, yep.
Since that point, you got 9 points, 6 rebounds. I mean, these are averages, people. You got 11.6 rebounds, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 9.6 rebounds. This is when he's playing with grown men.
Right.
The NBA's players. I'm not seeing a guy that's going to give me anything when he comes. And the reason why I'm so hard on him is because he should not be the topic in barbershops and beauty salons. He should not be.
Okay.
He should not even be discussed.
Well, let's take it a step back, and I'll address that point. But you got to stop looking at European stats. And you know, in the EuroLeague, it's a different animal over there.
You're right.
Because his only averaged 4 points overseas.
And let me just be clear. He was right. Dario was 3 for 5. For 3 against, I think it was Argentina, one of those teams. So, you know, I messed with. Since then, he hasn't hit a 3-pointer, but he was 3 for 5 just to open up the Olympics. But go ahead.
So let's throw out the EuroLeague stats. Let's throw all that stuff out because stats don't mean anything. European stats don't mean much to me. The reason why we're talking about Dario Saric now is because A, he's finally coming over, and B, ain't a whole lot else to talk about right now with the Sixers. I mean, this is a team.
I disagree.
This is a team that just came off a 10-win season. And you have nothing on other than Simmons, and you know you have nothing. Well, again, you haven't seen Embiid, so you can't. You can't really. Like, you have nothing to see. You have nothing to. You can react to what Dario Saric is doing now. You can react to what he did in the qualifying tournament. You can't react to 30-second Vine video of Joel Embiid dunking on a 6-foot guy out in California. I mean, that means that's cute or whatever. That doesn't move the needle. Like I can see Dario Saric play against NBA talent and evaluate Dario Saric against NBA talent in a quasi-NBA setting. I can do that now. I can't do that with Joel Embiid right now.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I have to emphatically disagree.
Emphatically.
Because Dario is a waste of time. and I guess in the bigger issue, this is the Sixers fan segment for us, in a sense. This is where we take off our hats and we talk as fans of our hometown team.
Right.
And when we see writers and the coach that we've entrusted our development of young players get excited about a block shot because it shows some sort of toughness that you think is going to make him some sort of viable NBA player, it pisses me off.
So what do you want Brett Brown to say about Dario Saric?
You know what I want to say? He's not Joel Embiid. He's not Ben Simmons. That's what my focus is this season.
Oh,
I don't want to see any more footage of Joel Embiid dribbling. 7 foot. He should never be dribbling. I want to see him doing the mic and drill. Have you seen any footage of him doing the mic and drill?
Not in the last couple of years. It's been a couple of years.
But we're talking Dario Saric. Why?
Because he's
our
on your
focus
TV.
is off.
He's on your TV every other day.
But you know what? He's on the TV, so the hell what? He's inconsequential. Okay. And I want to get that point out to not just Sixer fans, but to the writers. This dude is not good. I'm not missing anything.
Not good.
I'm willing to put
MVP of the qualifying tournament a couple months ago. EuroLeague young star, 2 of the last 3 years. But he's not good.
He's not in there. He was not the EuroLeague star.
Young rising star.
He was
2 years in a row.
The guy that they talked about. But when you watch that team play, there were other players who came out that played an NBA style. What happened was he was the young guy on the under-19 team that people got their nipples all tingled about. And then when he had to play with grown men, downhill he's going.
Downhill.
So then he gets a block shot. See, I told you, he could play. He had 5 points that game. 5 points.
So all these games he's played all summer against grown men mean nothing.
No, because it hasn't done anything. They're 2-1.
He led his team. He led his team to the Olympics. He hasn't done. It won the MVP.
Okay, quickly.
He hasn't done anything.
What league?
No, in the qualifying tournament.
What league did he play in the EuroLeague? What's the name of the division or league?
The Turkish league. I don't even know.
Exactly. We'll come back. Burton and Kwame Fisher-Jones, Overbrook High School, NBA Fox.
Okay.
Exactly. My point. He dominated. Underlined. I don't know. He dominated fill in the blank. Okay. He was nice against Anthony Goldwire.
I keep forgetting that international tournaments mean nothing to you. I keep thinking that,
the quality of opponent is what matters. And I'll tell you why. Because you're the same dude that ushered in a plate full of doo-doo when you were talking about Ben Simmons. It doesn't matter who Ben Simmons. It doesn't matter. Ben Simmons isn't playing against anybody good, so he can take a game off. Then in the same breath, you took a breath. Ben Simmons was an MVP. He was first team all summer league.
First team all summer league.
But you just told me the guys that he was playing against sucked.
First team all summer league.
So he was the best against the sucky competition.
He showed out against when he had to show out. He did what he had to. He did what he had to do. Oh my goodness.
He did not. He's another one that gave you 7 points.
You hate anybody not born in the States. I mean, I get it. Like, you're going to come in next week dressed like Cameron and Joel Santana with your flags on everywhere, all American out, with your USA flags all over, because you just don't like international guys. I get it.
Full disclosure,
I understand.
I do feel there's a lack of respect for college basketball players in the States. I do feel like some more four-year seniors or, 4-year juniors should be drafted over Nicholas Tskaleski or Manu Ginobili and stats. I do. That has no bearing at all on the lack of impact Dario Saric is going to have. And you confirm it in your fancy verbiage when you say he'll be the 5th best player if you're lucky. Because if he's the 5th best player, realistically, you should never have drafted. If you projected the guy that you drafted at 10th or 12th and traded for 10th, whatever, stat check me if you want to. But the guy that you essentially took in the top, if you projected 2 years from now or 3 years from now, he'd be your 5th best player. The general manager steps to the podium and say, this guy 3 years from now is going to be the 5th best player on our team. You'd have a problem with that.
No, but that wasn't the plan, though.
True or false?
No, well, that would be true, but that wasn't the plan. Like
that was the process.
No, they didn't plan for Joel Embiid to get hurt again. They didn't plan to have yet another top 3 pick when they drafted Okafor. They didn't plan to have another top 1 pick when they drafted Ben Simmons. The plan was Joel Embiid would sit out a year, Joel Embiid would be fine, this team would be good, and Dario Saric would probably be a more important piece of the team. Now, the way it sets up, he's probably not going to ever start on this team.
And it's funny, if the team is good, maybe Dario doesn't even come over. Maybe they trade his rights for a guy who can step in and play instantly. So even in that regard, it was a wasted pick because it's not going to help you. It didn't help you then, and now as he's coming, you're telling me, based on just your words, the 5th best player is not going to help me now.
So a quality 6th man, a really good big man off the bench.
He's quality 8th man.
A really good big man off the bench isn't going to help you. Tony Kukoc didn't help.
Thornton was a really good
Tony
big man
Kukoc
off the bench.
didn't help the Bulls.
He helped, but so did Scott Hansen. So did B.J. Armstrong. I mean, they helped because Scottie Pippen, and so did Luke Longley to that extent.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I take you
I hear you. I hear you.
They helped because they were able to play in a role that was minute because the other guys could carry the tray. The Sixers don't have those other guys. And just closing my iPad and sitting back, crossing my legs, as a fan, I want those guys who are going to help me now. I want guys that I can look at and say, 3 years from now, he's going to be a player.
Right.
Provided Joel Embiid is healthy, he will be a player.
Right.
That's a question, but provided he's healthy, he'll be a player.
Right.
Ben Simmons will be something. Will he be a franchise player? No, but he'll be something. You know, you wasted it with Dario.
You wasted it.
You wasted it because Zach LaVine, 3 years in after getting quality minutes, he probably would have been something. McDermott, even though I didn't want him and don't want him now, with the minutes, 2 years of NBA quality, 30 minutes on his belt, you have something.
Okay.
You got nothing. You got your fifth best player, maybe a good six man on a 15 to 30 win team.
I just want you to walk this back in January, February, when Dario comes over here and
roll the tape, mark the tape.
Gives you 18 minutes. Gives you 18 solid minutes a night coming off the bench.
18 minutes. 18 minutes is what he's going to be giddy about. 18 minutes. Nowhere is 18 minutes anything.
You just completely discount Tony Kukoc and anybody who ever comes off the bench.
No, because they
bench
had
players
Michael
don't
Jordan,
matter.
Scottie
Bench
Pippen,
players don't
Dennis
matter.
Rodman, and Phil Jackson. So no.
Well, you know what? Everybody will just play 48 minutes. And
What team did Tony Kukoc retire from?
We'll just go 5.
What team did Tony Kukoc retire from?
I don't know.
Point proven. Point proven. When he left the Bulls, diddly poo. Diddly poo when he left the Bulls. Diddly poo. He was the Marlboro man, NBA Finals. Welcome back to the NBA Files broadcast from Overbrook High School in West Philadelphia. I just confided in a little known fact that I actually am a Tony Kukoc fan. I thought he was clutch. So that's why I was like, yeah, he won't be Tony. Tony Kukoc, he is not. Tony Kukoc is not walking through that door. You mentioned Embiid.
Yes.
You mentioned Simmons. We're coming closer to the end.
Yep.
I am excited about something coming into the season. Not the record, not what the Sixers may or may not be in the future.
Right.
The Sixers possibly have not one, but 2 Rookie of the Year candidates.
Yeah.
When you think about that, well, all the crap we've been through as fans, but just as put your basketball guru hat on here. I can't think of a time that that's ever happened. Can you?
I can't. I can't. I mean, it's never happened here, and I can't think I can't think anywhere where you've had literally you have 2 legit Rookie of the Year candidates. I mean, if you put the odds out, and the odds are probably already out in Vegas, like they're probably both in the top 5 as far as like
they should be top because Vegas is usually on top of it.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's amazing. Like you have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and both of those guys have a very good chance of taking home the hardware.
If Brett Brown doesn't get sissified and try to monitor Embiid's minutes.
When Brett Brown doesn't start Joel Embiid at the start of the season.
No, you're right. He's not. And I'm gonna be front court. They open up against OKC.
That's right.
I'm gonna have a fire Brett Brown sign.
Right, like Joel's gonna wear his warm-ups, and you're gonna watch Joel in his warm-ups, and he'll take them off sometime, late in the first quarter.
The Sixers better, you better never let me near Joel Embiid, because question number 1 is gonna be, how do you feel about being benched after 2 years and not being allowed to play?
Oh man!
And he's gonna be.
They can't credential you, man. They got it. They got it.
All right.
Sixers, if you're listening, don't credential this man, please.
You and I have had the pleasure of kind of doing our research in Embiid, talking to people that know Embiid. For those who don't know much about him, all they see is the YouTube vines.
Right.
Inside.
Right.
Karate man, bleed on the inside.
Inside, that's right.
What type of competitive person is Joel Embiid?
I got to bring that phrase back that we used a few shows ago. He's got that dog in him. Like
exactly.
He wants to get at it. He begs the coaches all the time, can I play? Can I play?
He tells them. He doesn't beg. He says, I want to play.
Them, like Coach Pierce, Coach Brown, I want to play.
Shows up the Summer League ready to play.
2 years in a row, the man just shows up in Las Vegas. He has no business being there with shorts on, ready to go. That man wants it, and it's going to be hard to keep him off the court. It's going to be hard.
It's going to be exciting to watch him and Bayless run up and down the court. And when he goes, there's a phrase the young boys use, no chill.
Right.
He has no chill when he's going to be on the court. So it's exciting. It hasn't been a lot of things to get. We've done shows about Charles Barkley, and Allen Iverson was probably the last time I've had this much excitement going into a rookie year. And it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
The final buzzer has sounded for this installment of the NBA Files. Make sure you check your local listings. Tune into the website, thenbafiles.com, for overtime footage. We're going to jump back into the Embiid and Simmons Rookie of the Year. For those of you that are just watching this on television, for Roy Burton, I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones from Overbrook High School. As always, this is the NBA Files, and we appreciate your time here.